Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Tel Aviv. Coming up in today's newscast, Israel plans to complete a new fence around the country. An Israeli company reveals a life-changing medical invention, and Israeli music fans can look forward to some special visitors. I'm Natasha Kirchak here with the latest news in Israel. The Israeli Prime Minister has unveiled a new plan to surround the entire state of Israel with a security fence. The barrier would also seal off all openings in the West Bank security wall. Prime Minister Netanyahu says the fence is needed to protect Israel from carnivorous animals, or in other words, extremist Islamist movements in neighboring countries. The Israeli leader says the border project is part of a multi-year plan to ensure Israel's security, and it will cost the state billions of dollars.
בסופו של דבר, במדינת ישראל, כפי שאני רואה אותה, תהיה גדר כזאת שמקיפה את כולה. יגידו לי, זה מה שאתם רוצים לעשות, להגן על הווילה? התשובה היא כן. מה, אנחנו נקיף את כל מדינת ישראל בגדר, במכשול? התשובה היא כן, חד משמעית. בסביבה שבה אנחנו גרים, אנחנו צריכים להגן על עצמנו, מפני חיות הטרף.
Israeli and European Union officials are reportedly meeting this week in hopes of ending an ongoing diplomatic dispute. If the talks are successful, they could end months of frosty relations. The two bodies have been feuding since the EU passed a controversial law targeting Israel. The new legislation requires the EU to label products made by Israeli companies in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Golan as made in those areas. The EU has also announced that any future agreements with Israel will not apply to those regions. Prime Minister Netanyahu has since shut the EU out of negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians. But it looks like both sides have decided the time has come to make amends, and this week they're meeting to renew relations and move past the controversy. EU sources say the EU won't change the labeling law, but it might make other concessions to appease Israel. Opposition leader Isaac Herzog is under fire again for his new plan to separate Israelis and Palestinians. And this time he's being criticized by the mayor of Jerusalem. Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat is blasting Herzog's new diplomatic plan, which calls for Israel to give up Arab neighborhoods in the capital and hand them over to Palestinians. Herzog claims neighborhoods like Shuafat and Isawiya were not what Jews prayed for when they asked God to enable the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem. Barkat is shooting down Herzog's plan and says it's wrong to divide Jerusalem and build walls inside the capital. The mayor says Herzog's idea is a dangerous slippery slope that concedes all of our rights to Israeli land. Herzog has fired back at the mayor, accusing him of appealing to Likud voters since he just joined the party. Israel is a melting pot of so many different cultures, and tourists visiting from all over the world often fall in love with the country's global mix. The Holy Land sits right on the Mediterranean, and you can literally experience the influence in the food traditions and, most importantly, the music. Dionysios Theodorou is a great example of one of the international transplants that has made a mark on Israeli music. His Israeli-Greek band is making waves around the country. Check out this performance. So thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So from what I understand, you're born in Cyprus, raised in England, and you studied in New York.
Right.
How did you end up in Israel?
My fascination with Israel goes back a long way. I bought a Bible from my jumbo sale at my high school, at my elementary school actually, when I was around 6 years old. And I was just fascinated with the stories. And it connected me. It's something that's been with me throughout my teenage years. And then when I was around 25, I was running a small computer business in New York. And I just felt a calling to to connect to Israel, to connect to the Jewish people, to connect to the Bible. And then I switched my major actually to study Jewish history, biblical criticism, and Hebrew linguistics, which I studied in New York, where I lived for 8 years. And then just things, I met my wife in 2002 in New York, who's Israeli from Rehovot.
There you go.
And here we are. We've been here for 13 years. I've been here since October 2002. And it's fantastic. It's wonderful to be here. And I absolutely love it.
So that's an amazing journey that you've had. And you produce Greek music,
Right.
Which is actually really popular in Israel.
Yeah, definitely.
So why is that? Why is it so popular here?
Again, the history of Greek music in Israel goes back to the late 50s when a Greek singer called Arisan came over. And he sort of took the country by storm, playing Greek music with new orchestrations on the guitar and singing. He was also singing in Hebrew and Spanish. And then since then, there have been it was pretty much mainstream in the 1970s, Greek music, with singers like Trifonas Nikolaidis and again, Yuda Poliker, who's a local Israeli singer who was a leader in a rock band, and then he, with Greek roots, his parents are Holocaust survivors, and then he just started doing Greek music, and then again it just took off. So it was pretty much mainstream, and it's a very upbeat and happy, and it's like party music. So people enjoy.
Absolutely, it's very
music.
happy. I mean,
Yeah,
I always
exactly.
go to Greek music performances in Yafo. You can go
Right.
into the markets on Friday mornings, and there are performers. So I love Greek music.
Yeah, it's very upbeat, so it just sort of gives a spark to the party.
Absolutely.
And,
so you've also performed all over the world, not just in Israel. And do you get that same love for Greek music in other parts of the world?
I think it's unique what's going on here with Greek music, because actually no, in the rest of the world I performed in New York for 8 years, I performed in England, I performed in Cyprus, in Greece, other countries in Europe. And here it's almost, it's like it's homegrown music here. So a lot of the songs, they're translated also from Greek to Hebrew. So people can sing along in the local, in the Hebrew language.
And that plays
Hebrew.
a huge part.
And so it's just, it's actually local music. It's not like a foreign kind of music. So it's.
Well, and what's interesting is that local music in Israel is actually very international because there's so
Right.
many influences from all over the world.
Exactly, yeah.
And yesterday you actually finished recording the first new single in your new album.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about this. What is this new project?
I'd like to mention that the members of our band, they come from different musical backgrounds. So my partner in the production, Itzik Tsarum, he's a pianist, classical jazz pianist with flamenco influence. Our violin player, Daniel Hoffman, he's a klezmer, classical jazz violinist.
Wow.
Our trumpet player, Omer Gabay, he's a jazz trumpet player. Our drummer, he's a rock fusion. So, and also when I was growing up, I didn't really listen to a lot of, I've been performing since I was 11. But I listened to all sorts of different types of music, from classical to rock to jazz. So we all bring our own influence, and it sort of creates a fusion, where it's bouzouki music, Greek music, but you can definitely hear there a different result. It sounds very different from classical or from regular Greek music, and I think that's what really connects to the audience here. All sorts of audiences, even people that don't really like Greek music, they enjoy.
Well, they're able to find something that they relate to in the
Exactly, they relate
music.
to something. So this project, it's basically bringing Greek music, old Greek songs and original songs that we write, and bringing our own influence to it, our own orchestration, and just presenting it in a very natural, dynamic, and upbeat way.
So here's a big question. Where can we see you perform next?
We have a couple of dates. If you'd like to connect to our website, Studio Bouzouki, studiobouzuki.com. Bouzouki is Bouzouki, studiobuzuki.com. We have our show dates there. But we have an upcoming show in Tel Aviv on this Friday at Banana Beach in 3 o'clock. And then on the 2nd of March, we have a show in Tel Aviv in Neve Tzedek at Susan Dalal Cultural Center at the Imbal Hall on the 2nd of March of this year. And we're a 5-piece band. So we'd love to see you. We'd love to see you.
Absolutely. I'd love to come out and hear your music. Well, it's great to hear about this new album, and everybody should listen. And thank you so much for coming in.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
If you believe the rumors, this year will be a great one for Israeli music lovers. Promoters are saying that Bruce Springsteen, Madonna, Beyonce, and Britney Spears are all planning to perform in Israel this summer. The website Tourist Israel is reporting that Bruce Springsteen and Britney Spears will be heading to Israel, but their local shows don't appear on their scheduled world tours. Neither artist has ever appeared in Israel before. Madonna performed in Ramat Gan for over 30,000 fans in 2012, so a return gig for the pop wonder seems likely. When it comes to the R&B diva Beyonce, several producers are reportedly working together to bring the superstar to town. They're trying for 2 concerts in August with a price tag of nearly $8 million. Have you ever had a cut that just won't stop bleeding? Well, we might have a solution for you. An Israeli company has come up with an incredible medical product that promises to stop severe bleeding within minutes. The Israeli company Core Scientific Creations has come up with a new bandage that it says can stop severe bleeding within minutes. The bandage is called Wound Clot, and it promises to stop bleeding without applying pressure. The company says it not only stops the bleeding, but it also helps enhance the blood's natural clotting process.
Our product is unique because it is the only product in the market that is non-compressional application for severe bleeding, while at the same time being bioabsorbable. Because this is a contradiction. Bioabsorbable means you want the product to break down. But withholding severe bleeding means you want to have a very stable membrane. And that is basically the trick or the patent that we develop.
This is our trauma product. It comes in a long ribbon. When we place it into the wound, in this case this is only water, but when it's exposed to liquids, this product starts to absorb enormous amount of blood, and then it transforms into a gel state.
The product is not only impressive, it could also save lives. The company's CEO Yuval Yaskil says that severe bleeding is the #1 cause of death in battlefields, which Wound Clot could prevent.
These products allow to treat very severe bleeding in the field with minimum amount of, I would say, training, with minimum amount of interfering with the regular medical treatment or protocols that are used today.
Yaskil says his company is providing the Israeli Army, police, and hospitals with Wound Clot, and he believes it will save lives. The product gets even better, since Yaskil says that one of the best things about Wound Clot is its low cost.
We are replacing very, very expensive products because where our product doesn't have any active ingredients in it. It just works on a physical level, on a biological level, on a physiological level. That's what it does. But it does it so efficiently that in many cases we replace products that have active ingredients that are supposed to promote coagulation.
Most clotting agents are expensive and can cost up to thousands of dollars, but Wound Clot costs only $10 per bandage. Because of its price, Israeli forces can afford to stock up on Wound Clot with the hope that it will save lives. And now for our Hebrew word of the day, we thought we would equip you with one of the most commonly used words in Israel, which also happens to be an insult. The term freier is Hebrew slang for fool, although it may be rooted in Yiddish or Russian. Either way, the word freier is so common over here, we're almost positive it's here to stay. If an Israeli calls you a freier, you should probably stop whatever you're doing, because they're saying you're easily fooled. For example, if you take a taxi and the driver rips you off, you're a freier. On the other hand, Israelis love to say that someone they admire isn't a freier, basically just to clarify that they're really savvy. If you hear an Israeli talk about someone and say hu lo freier, they mean that that person is smart and no one can take advantage of him. What can we say? Israelis love being the most clever and successful. After all, there's a reason Israeli businesses are so successful worldwide. They avoid being foolish at all costs. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Thursday is expected to be partly sunny with a high of 62 degrees. Friday should be even sunnier with a high of 66, so you can look forward to a pleasant weekend. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.87 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at ILTV.tv, and don't forget to check out our new evening update every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tonight.